Greetings, family. Back here once again with Mr. D. Meezy, Brother David Mosley, here promoting the Black Family Summit. With me is my guest, my honored guest, community activist extraordinaire, the man who can pick up the phone, push a button, and get things done. None other than Mr. Mac Epps. Mr. Mac Epps.
How you doing, sir?
Man, it's great sitting beside a great man.
Man, look, man, I'm just a reflection of yourself, my brother.
Well, brother, I must be beautiful.
Oh, man.
Hair and all. So we want to just talk about today, the 5th annual Black Family Summit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're no stranger to the Black Family Summit. You've
Right.
attended several of them. Tell me about some of your experiences dealing with Mississippi Family for Kids and the Black Family Summit.
Well, the Black Family Summit is a great...
So we want to just talk about today, the 5th annual Black Family Summit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're no stranger to the Black Family Summit. You've
Right.
attended several of them. Tell me about some of your experiences dealing with Mississippi Family for Kids and the Black Family Summit.
Well, the Black Family Summit is a great event and highlights a lot of the issues and come up, with solutions that we see in the African American community. Mostly from the social work standpoint or the social service standpoint, when you're looking at the whole environment. You're looking at health issues, you're looking at political issues, you're also looking at social issues and how they impact the individual. One of the things we lay out in social work is talking about PI and that person in the environment and how they play a part in different things in the environment, how does it affect them.
You said PI as in person, P-I-N, environment, E, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, Mississippi Family for Kids is no stranger to the work they've been doing. It's definitely really providing the resources and the stability that our children need. So I think this is a great opportunity, a great collaboration, and hopefully it'll be well attended. That a lot of people come out and get a lot of information and network, but we are highlighting some major issues that we are facing, especially in today's times, as we see legislation playing a major part in contributing to a lot of the things that we're going to highlight at this conference.
That's right. You're absolutely correct. Legislation is very important to pay attention to. But the real issue, of course, is what we do on the ground because all politics is local. So we want to promote My Mental Health Matters, hosted by Mississippi Family for Kids on May the 25th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Jackson Medical Mall in the community room, and that will be this May 25th. And that's an issue dealing with addressing the mental health needs of youth in foster care. Mm-hmm. And, as you know, as a person who dealt with mental health persons mm-hmm. and populations yourself, right. Even prior to getting into social work on a right. master's degree level, you're someone who has some of those experiences
right.
helping some of those populations. Tell us about that just a little bit.
Well, if you highlight foster situations, foster parents, foster kids, a lot of them you're dealing with the attachment issue. Some of them have been pulled away from what they're known as their family structure due mm-hmm. to some type of situation where either it was neglect, either it was death, a lot of different things help kids end up in foster care.
Right.
But when you start talking about mental health issues and mental health matters, this is made this Mental Health Month. We have seen currently and we have seen in the past, but definitely now, how mental health awareness plays a major part in dealing with people as a whole, but especially our children, as we've seen a lot more crime being committed by a younger age, and the type of crimes that you see can come from a child not having issues addressed at an earlier age, but also you see some of the things have been environmental,
right.
The conditioning and the culture of that kid. So just think about, you got all these different things that are plaguing you in your society every day, but you don't have that family structure.
Right.
You are with
somebody
that
social support network.
That right. social support network. And some foster parents, they have to go through training. You know, sometimes you look for therapeutic foster care.
Right.
And therapeutic foster care where they go through training themselves to be able to deal with these children that have already suffered trauma. Because they come in the door not only having social issues with not having their parent, but they've been traumatized for whatever situation. And sometimes it's been abuse. Sometimes, like I said, it's been because the parent has been killed in a tragic way or whatever the case may be. But now they have to readjust and deal with the issues that they are bringing in. So I definitely, there are some great foster parents out there, and they definitely need to be highlighted. But mental health and dealing with foster kids is definitely a topic that needs to be talked about, and definitely something that needs to be supported for the child and for those who are in the parent's position.
Right. I'm sitting here wearing a Love Vets shirt.
Right.
And Love Vets is going to be doing a walk this Saturday on the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing a walk in Parham Bridges Park for the homeless veterans, right?
Right.
And as you know, homeless vets and deal with mental health issues, right? Most of the time, the drugs even are related to the mental health issues. There was a report in USA Today, if I'm correct, it was just last week, as a matter of fact, that showed that 3 out of 5 of every military person who was kicked out of the military, dishonorably discharged, had mental health issues. But those mental health issues were examined after they were kicked out, right? And so some of them had traumatic brain injury, and others were suffering from PTSD. And so there's one of them is TBI, another one is PTSD. And so we find out that, you know, that it's the mental health that's driving this. Of course, and in terms of incarceration, you find out that both before folks go to jail and while they're in jail, they undergo mental illness, or you know, because of the isolation, sometimes because of fights, and sometimes just because of being in a very dramatized, traumatic environment.
War zone.
Right, like a war zone, where you have to either go savage or become a sissy, right? And it's like you got to fight, or you got to, you know, give up something that you don't want to give up. Even if there's nothing more than your ego, you got to give up something. You're always being told what to do and when to do it. Right. And so that can have an effect on you. And just touch on that in terms of the economic impact of mental health, mass incarceration, education, and kinship care.
Well, the people, we always talk about comparing it to third grade, you know, when they base the test scores on how they're going to build a prison.
Right.
Well, looking at that, if you say that, if I know that little David is in third grade showing signs of having behavioral health issues or social anxieties or different things of that nature by him not performing well on his test. Well, if I identify this at third grade, why can't I apply the resources at third grade to help him in what he needs to make sure that he's a prosperous citizen?
You're not talking about in Mississippi, right?
I'm just not talking about in America, period.
Oh, okay, man, because in Mississippi they don't even want Prop 42.
Well, that's not. So the thing is, but it's not monetarily beneficial to others.
You talking about in the long run or the short run?
In no run.
You sure?
Well, all I'm saying for is
if you're building the prisons, it's probably
that's in the prisons. What I'm saying is providing you the resources you need so that you make better choices, get your grades up, so you won't go to prison.
Well, but I benefit if I benefit from the prison industrial complex. If I benefit from the contracts that are related to building prisons, if I benefit, me. If I benefit from selling toilet tissue to the prisons, if I benefit from selling toothpaste to the penitentiary, if I benefit from a certain product that's produced by prisoners at prison labor rates, so that then I can sell my product more effectively, then why would I want that to stop?
They don't, and they are ensuring that policy and the environment will match up to make sure you're constantly producing somebody that's going to end up to fill their spot. So when you get too old or you die, there's a system set in place to make sure. So going back to answer your question and talking about the funding, you know, I'd rather pay $20,000 a year, supposedly in tax dollars, to imprison you for a social crime that you could have prevented when I identified that you needed these necessities and these resources at third grade level.
So you say you're going to reduce productivity, purposefully reduce productivity, rather than purposefully increase productivity.
Because like you're saying, outsourcing being privatized, you're saying these funding and these tax dollars are going to go for imprison this man for committing a crime and for violating the trust he had in society.
But there's no guarantee that if you give a front-end investment of education, a front-end investment of resource allocation to fit my needs, there's no guarantee that I won't still end up being a criminal.
Well, guess what? There's no guarantee that you're going to be a criminal when you fail those tests, but why are you still building a prison?
Because of the likelihood.
Because I'm insured. Because,
So that's what you're talking about with policy and conditions, right?
Right,
Social
conditioning. So if you lock a rabbit in a cage long enough, he's going to bite you.
Yeah.
You lock the most commonest, mildest pet or mammal person walking this earth. If you lock them up and condition them long enough, they will be aggressive and show their teeth, as they say. So what you're talking about, the culture and what the funding and the resources, and I actually think I pointed this out to you one time before, and how this relates to money. It because big industries or private corporations make money,
right?
Because they outsource. Because the prisoners are making products to be sold in large corporations and large stores around the world out of free labor. Understand that one thing I always highlight.
No, they pay them 18 cents an hour.
Out of free labor. So if one thing I always highlight is
18 cents
slavery.
Yeah.
They said you cannot force a man to work.
Right.
But we did not look at the fine print in that 13th Amendment. You cannot force a man to work except when he's in prison. So versus changing the language in the 13th Amendment, you rather just ensure that more people end up in prison. And more people force minority males, highlighting that with African American males for the conditioning and the social conditioning of the community policy to reflect. We have a lot of blackface, people who look like us or look like the African American community, but don't have their best interest at heart whatsoever.
Right.
But they, just like you just said, they have found a way where they can sell a product and make money.
Right. So it's still operating. It's just an upgraded, transitional version of enslavement, right?
It's the same. But that corporation mentality not only today applies in slavery, within the prison system, but it applies in larger corporations on how I'm going to force David, I'm going to give you more and more on your plate because you need your job, but most of all, you need your benefits. And if you don't meet these deadlines and productivity, I'm going to fire you.
Right.
Well, David's working hard and David's stressed out, hair falling out, everything. But that's a form of forced labor because I'm forcing all this on you. You're doing the job of 3 men, but you don't want to lose your job because they're painting this picture and they are ensuring that the limitations on the jobs so that you have to hold on to the job that you have no matter what it costs you or your family. So there are multiple ways of slavery that we see that's going on in the world, and it's especially going on in this country.
That version of slavery is a difficult sell to someone who views slavery from the perspective of chattel slavery. That version of slavery is a difficult sell from someone who views slavery in terms of land peonage, right? That version of slavery is somewhat difficult when you talk about William Roden talking about the $40 million slaves, right? Where he's talking about the basketball players, right? Slavery by another name, right? Another book written, and I'm saying, so when you talk about slavery from that perspective, that's a difficult sell if you're looking at it from saying, well, hey, they're getting paid, right?
Right.
Nissan has an issue. The Nissan workers and these Nissan people who love their job, by the way, they don't hate working at Nissan, but they are discouraged with the fact that they are the most productive plant, but at the same time, they get the lowest wages.
Well, they have what they call mandatory overtime. And if you look up the definition, how those two things conflict with each other. Overtime is something you do extra.
Yeah.
Mandatory is something that you have to do.
Right.
So you have mandatory overtime when they just completely obliterate the labor laws.
Right.
But it's culture, and I always talk about culture. No matter what policy and things say, when they hit the ground and hit the street, people have their own way of doing things. And no matter how you read it,
right,
how you read it, it's just like what I tell people: if you read the Bible all day long and it tell you that he had what skin of bronze,
right,
feet of clay,
right,
hair of wool, and they give you a pale, blue-eyed white man and tell you this is Jesus, they direct conflict with each other.
Right.
But you say, yeah.
Well, you know, the picture says, right?
Because you're looking, you know, so the culture, even though they told you this and you read it for yourself in the policy, but when you get on the ground
and see
how you carry it out is totally different. But the thing about it, not highlighting just the problem, but solutions. So we go back to one of the other brothers we like to highlight all the time, which is Dr. Amos Wilson,
right,
who should be highlighted in the Black Family Summit. We should start the Black Family Summit off with information about Dr. Amos Wilson, somebody who has dedicated his life.
Everybody hasn't arrived at that point yet.
Well, they either going to go or we take them.
Well,
so
some people are afraid to go in the direction of Amos Wilson, who is, in my opinion, the most comprehensive solution
what's the Harriet Tubman
on the
model?
African American experience.
What the Harriet Tubman model?
Well, you know, she had a thing that said you gonna go or else.
Right. So but the thing is the rational mind for the Negro considered to be radical.
Right.
One of my favorite quotes ever since I heard it, because if we start using homegrown grassroots community organizing and networking, something that the Black Family Summit helped create a foundation for, where you have multiple groups from multiple capacities, people from different professions coming together and talking about the issues, but it no matter where they come from, long they have a solution mind. Not come there to gripe, not come there to vent, but we come in there to understand how can we help save the African American families, the Nubian families. How can we take off this stereotype and this cover they gave us called black? Because everything that's supposed to be associated with black is supposed to be bad and evil. Right.
In the system of global white supremacy, yes. Right. The definitions.
The terms.
Right. The terms. So, right.
But
white is right and black is evil.
Psychologically, if you hear things long enough, you start to think that way.
Right. Like devil food cake, right?
So yeah, devil food cake. Like, how does that go together? Why is the devil food cake better than the angel food cake?
Right. So right. Why is one of them black? Why is one of them white? You know.
Evil and darkness, but
right. Evil is dark and good is light. Right.
So when you talk about that, is what can we do?
I'm gonna wash my black soul, Snow White, clean. Right. I'm gonna be cleansed with the blood of Jesus, Snow White. And so now everything that's good is white, and everything that's evil.
What's the dominant color?
Well, first of all the origin of all colors is darkness.
Correct.
Right. Which is symbolized by the color black.
Correct.
All right. And then all other colors come from the black.
Right.
So, I mean, that's for folks who ready to deal on that level.
Well, even though we just highlighting, and sometimes even though when you're not ready to deal on that level, you got to highlight some of the points so they can intrigue and pique the interest of others. To be like, I like that. I want to look at. I want to look at it. I want to look it up. But what you're highlighting now about the Black Family Summit, where we will be dealing with these issues and having these conversations and panels that are going to address a lot of these topics, I think that we are learning. As we say, the rational mind for the Negro considered to be radical. That meaning that we're going to use rationalized thinking, common sense, logical thinking to start solving and addressing some of these issues. What can we do? As a community, we can create more volunteers, more mentors with Big Brother, Big Sister, and get out there and start to tackle this issue with third graders on our own. To make sure,
and then it goes
and our children as a whole.
What about what you was talking about earlier with the therapeutic training, right? Because we're talking about a Black Family Summit with research-based solutions. Right. You know, even
but you got to be careful who you get the research from.
There's no doubt about that. But if you have multiple people coming together, then you have an opportunity to vet the information, right? As opposed to just accepting it without challenging it, without putting some triangulation, so to speak, on it, right? Like on the 25th, right? At the My Mental Health Matters, addressing the mental health needs of youth in foster care, right? That's taking place 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Jackson Medical Mall. Right. All right. If, like you said, you got the wrong people giving the research, then they might put forward the plan that sends people backwards as opposed to moving them towards excellence. Right. And that's why you have to have a Black Family Summit, because since you have so much information coming from so many different sources, it's hard to just, if you're not in the field, it's hard to even know which one is right and which one is wrong. You got children on medication whose parents don't know if that's the right medicine or the wrong medicine. All right? They might need some medicine, but they don't need the medicine they're getting or at that dose. And when do you wean them off the medicine? Is that part of the plan? Is it nutritional deficiency? I'm saying, is it nutritional deficiency? Do they have ear and eye problems? Or is it just behavioral because they're bad? No. And if they're bad, are they getting behavior modification along with the medicine?
Right. What you have is you have a conditioning. Again, it goes back to money.
Yeah, right.
I don't care what anybody says, it always goes back to money. Some of the conditions that we have in our culture, in our community, can be solved with money. Right. Some of them, but understanding how to produce money, understanding how to make money, understanding what to do when you get the money. But when you're talking about the medication, Pharmaceutical companies. Who are your billion and trillion dollars?
The
Pharmaceutical companies,
dope
right?
man.
A lot of
Pfizer.
the herbal stuff that you can utilize, that you can grow in your backyard, have the same effects, but it
But
calls
over a
for a
longer period of time.
lifestyle change. Right. So there's no quick fix. We have created a microwave society where we want everything to stop.
But
and fix then.
I asked the question. I asked the question: which place have more chemical compounds? The Rite Aid, Walgreens, Wendy's, or McDonald's? Which one has more pharmaceutical compounds? Right. And of course that question is like, huh? I never looked at McDonald's as a dope man. Right, I never looked at my gas station.
See, we're going to end up
as a dope man.
We're going to have more conversation because
no. I'm not pointing that out so that you can go into that. I'm saying when you talk about a Black Family Summit, the 5th annual, you're talking about
we're going to end up in our
research-based solutions to those type of questions.
But you know what you're saying is what I tell people: there's no such thing as conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
This is real. It's not a theory. Theory meaning something that you believe to be without all of the proof.
Right.
You know, this is real. Just like when they got up and said that we don't pride ourselves in promoting and marketing to children. You're the only fast food restaurant with a playground. Who are you marketing to?
With all these colors in it.
Right. So
and all these little characters.
It's proven fact that children like loud colors. So
that's what you got.
So
you got Ronald McDonald doing magic.
They're telling us that. And then we like
the Hamburglar,
and we want to believe it because we want to believe it.
Well, you know, and also you're addicted to it too.
Well, that's the thing about it. Ain't no different than a dope man. I'm gonna give you your free snatch right now. So now you rolling good and feeling good. You know where David go? I didn't see David. I'm looking for David. So it's.
You ever see them children act up when they can't get their candy and they can't get their little French fry?
They can't get anything.
Right now the French fries you fry at home. I don't want to live on McDonald's, but
get off of them.
You know it's rough. But I'm just saying, look, you make French fries at home, right?
Right.
Your children ain't going crazy over French fries at home like they're going crazy over the French fries at McDonald's.
I hadn't figured it out yet.
I figured it out. It might be something that's on or in the French fry.
But here's another thing we talk about: rational mindset
of
the community and what we have to do. Never said that our solutions for our issues are going to be easy or is going to be popular. Don't even introduce your child to McDonald's.
That's a rough one.
But that's just example of some of the things we're
rough,
talking about. Period.
That microcosm that you just introduced of the macro, like you said, don't introduce your child to McDonald's, right? Don't introduce your child to excessively sugared products, right?
Right.
Don't introduce your child to some of these horror movies late at night. Don't introduce your child to some of this media that tells them that they ugly. Don't introduce your child to TV programs that demean them or that promote certain types of behaviors that are not in line with your divinity.
When you watch something
that's rough, man. That's rough.
We're talking about development of the brain.
That's right.
And the condition of the brain and the body.
Right.
All right. And the mature
going back to that pie thing you're talking about, right? Person environment.
We're going back to this. So you think about, you think about Erickson. So when you're thinking about the development of stages, when you see something or handle something at a certain age, you're able to deal with it a little bit better. But when you're exposed to it at an earlier age, where like you're talking about that fix, I have to have it. So, I talk about we want to change things. Why do we hear more of certain music?
Right.
Versus more of a Jadena, Kendrick Lamar, or Talib Kweli, Mos Def, where somebody has a message and uplifting, talking about the concerns of the lower income African American community, but also highlighting and using the terms about kings and queens and being and
folks who produce excellence and did take divine personal responsibility.
Right. So why is that not as popular? Because the condition of the mind. If you grew up being called a king or a little prince or a warrior and held to the standards of that all your life, it's ingrained in you when you hear that and you speak to each other. When you are ingrained with valor, they talk about more values. They talk about having integrity. When you're using these terms and your child and the conditioning and you hear it, then the response is different. Well, we have multiple things, and when we see the outcome, we have a rise in bad health care. And I say bad health care because we got some stuff out there that you don't know, you might as well just not do nothing. I'm just going to wait on the Lord. Because taking this stuff that's supposed to help me is going to send me down faster.
Right.
But, you have those issues. So and it's not done just by somebody saying, you know what, I'm just try this. It's been researched.
Right.
It-
Right.
it-
Right.
it's-
Research-based solutions.
Research-based
that are offered at the Black
solutions
Family
to
Summit.
ensure that a certain group will always be dependent on something of resources. If you work and create economic status for yourself, then taxes are going to get you. If you don't, and you stay in a certain area, then you won't break that ceiling
Right. You might get redlined
or drop
right.
below.
Right.
So that I tell people that overall it's designed to destroy anything that's over or below the norm.
Right.
So if you drop too low, then they point fingers at you.
Right.
If you go too high, then they point fingers at you. So you must stay within a comfortable range of those who the powers that be, and the powers that be depends on who.
So now you
are
talking
around.
about. So now you talking about how communities can be in self-check now, right? They'll self-check themselves where
Right.
they won't try to rise so high, and they'll stop their children from rising so high. And then when they start to falling too low, they might play some blame the victim type stuff because they don't feel like they can afford to.
Well,
get you up.
I mean, and highlighting, get back to the Black Family Summit and
Right.
asking people to come out for this June 6th, Tuesday, June 6th
Right.
at the East Center. Go register. Go to the website. Go check it out.
Right. Right.
We have great panelists that are going to talk about a lot of these issues that we are facing, but I cannot highlight enough to talk about mass incarceration, education, and talking about mental health. These three are connected. These three are connected like patterns on a quilt,
Mm-hmm.
and it's done intentionally, starting with education, the miseducation of a Negro. So you miseducating me,
Right.
and then you're creating a system.
Where I learn about everybody and everything except myself.
I
Right.
learned the lies, whatever the thing
Right.
about it is, but it's continued to develop and create a negative dependence in society. So then you start talking about what kind of impact this is going to have on us. Mass incarceration. Well, they started to develop mental health issues that leads to mass incarceration. Instead of some of these folks that should be somewhere in a mental health facility getting treatment, they are doing hard time.
Right. Where
They are
the
doing
mental
hard
health is
time.
not there. Where the mental health
No,
facility.
no. Well, we're gonna treat them here. Well, they're
Right.
gonna give you your medication there, but you're not getting the same treatment
Right.
that you would get in a place that is
Designed
designed
for
for
that.
you.
Right.
But I'm just gonna lock you up with everybody else.
Right.
So you're putting these people in, and they're suffering, and they're going down. Understand, mental health is real. These people have issues that are going on in their mind that they cannot help.
That's right.
They cannot help.
That what we used to call demons, right? The demons are too powerful, right?
Well, they can't deal with it.
That was the way that they was phrased in another
And one of the
time.
things we pointed out earlier, one of the things we learned first is self-medication.
That's right.
What can I do to make the pain go away?
Right.
And that's what we're having. But we must tackle the system. We must highlight things we see that are working. Must search the community to find models.
So you're talking about promoting best practices.
Best practice.
Right, and effective
They
models.
teach you
right?
that in social work. Go with the best practice.
Right.
Go with the answer that will provide the less harm and give the best results.
Right.
Always promote self-determination.
Right.
And quality of life. Everything you can do to improve someone's quality of life.
But tell me this now. Now I don't want to go too far off, but just briefly talk a little bit about Dr. West and Dr. Osby.
I can't.
You can't briefly say something about
No.
Dr. Osby?
I think they are great people, and they've
Right.
been working really hard
Right.
to push this community. And definitely with Dr. Osby, she's done great work and highlighting and understanding that as a social worker, you deal with advocacy and also direct counseling. You dealing with the whole and treating the whole person.
What about Dr. Nellums? You got anything? to say
Oh
about
man, Dr. Nellums and her foundation, she is a warrior. She's not going anywhere. She's serious about creating other social workers to be on the front lines, and she's stepped to that advisor role and creating role to create more Dr. Nellums. Now that's going to be a hard,
That's hard. That's a big
that's a
shoe to
hard
fill.
mold to fill, but she's working hard at it, and she's going to tell you like it is.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you, Brother David.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. I want to thank you once again for
Yes, sir.
coming.
Yes, sir.
For everyone who's viewing, please go to www.mffk.org. That's www.mffk.org. That is the 5th Annual Black Family Summit held on June the 6th at the Jackson State East Center from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Call 601-957-7670 for more information. Thank you, Mr. D. Meezy, Brother David, signing off. Please do attend the 5th Annual Black Family Summit. Thank you.